family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and your brother
Yeah,
SJ will be joining us shortly, along with our other guest hosts that we have sometimes here, Brother Blacksmith and Sister Marcia. They will be joining us in the second hour. We have a powerful packed program for you all this evening. Part two of our interview with Dr. Antoinette Harrell. And of course, we have a great, special, unique guest with us, Mr. Johnny Lee Gaddys, who will also be joining us in this hour to give us his story about his life in the peonage system. And so we are excited once again to be black with you all. Again, our brother Ashe SJ will be joining us in the second hour. But before we get started, I gotta give love and shout out to F&P Accessories again for the fedora. Check it out, the white with the denim blue bottom. I gotta keep it tight. Brother Taz said it was mean last week, so I had to come
yes,
with
sir.
it. How you doing, Brother Taz? What's good with you?
Oh man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Just trying to get some things situated on my laptop while we do this thing here real quick. For some reason my camera's off a little bit, like I can see myself via the laptop, but through the device I'm streaming with, I can't see myself. So it's all love though. But it's been a good week. It's been a good week, sis. I ain't gonna complain. You know. I can't hear you, sis.
For me as well, it's been a smooth week. No craziness, thank goodness. A lot has been happening here in this city and around the world. So we'll get into all of that in the second hour because, like I said, we have a very unique guest with us this evening and we want to jump right into it. We don't want to waste too much time. Let me give some quick shout outs. Sister Tosh Monique, shout out. Blessings to you too, sis.
Yes,
All the best.
peace, sis.
Miss Oil Lady, peace and greetings. Thank you. Yes, right. Be more in the building. What's good?
Shout out to our Baltimore family.
Yeah. Sister Farnessa, always on a check-in. Good to be black with you again. Sis, I don't know if you've been paying attention. These markets is killing me. It's killing me. But if you had that Twitter stock, I'm telling you, I told y'all to hold on to it. I told y'all to hold on to it. I hope so. Yes, indeed. Brother Lumumba, glad to be black with you again. We got to give love and shout out to MWM, excuse me. Again, we still in their anniversary week, so we'll deal with that in the second hour as well. Shout out to you, Facebook user. Yes, Baltimore all day. Brother Ray and the BK William Mackey History Club is in the building. Now, see, BK William Mackey History Club. This is the right place for y'all to be tonight, Brother Ray. We gonna get some real history tonight, family. It's for real, for real. Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, boy, they messing up the markets. They playing with my bread. I don't like that now. I don't like that now. We gotta keep the money flowing. We all gotta eat. So we gotta do what we have to. Yes, Philly in the building. Philly, be more. We got the Midwest in the building. Shout out to Arkansas in the building. We got Harlem, we got Brooklyn, we got Queens, we got Long Island in the building. Strong Island, Sister Joyce, Brother Monty. Glad that y'all are black here with us. I got to give y'all a call, Sister Joyce. I'll probably do it later on in the week. Brother Kev, South Kakalaki, land of the Geechee, baby, in the building. Glad you black with us. Let's get right into it. I don't want to hold up too much time. We got our guest, Dr. Antoinette Harrell, in the building with us, black again, for another Blacktastic week. It's good to see you again, Queen Mother. How are you? You got to unmute your
I'm
mic,
just
sis.
Okay, gotcha. I'm doing fine. What about you all?
we're great, great. Definitely glad to have you back.
It's a pleasure to be back as well. So thank you all for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, family, I told y'all before, and don't make me tell y'all too many times. You know, Sister Keisha don't like to repeat herself. Follow Nurturing Roots on Instagram. Follow Nurturing Our Roots on IG, baby. Follow them. There's the link right there in the comment section. Pull it up. Now, I'm bringing in an elder, an esteemed elder. Let me make that plain and clear. An esteemed elder who has been through some things, going to educate us on some things, make us more aware, more astute. And we want to get these stories out into the general populace because who better to tell our stories than us?
Mm-hmm.
When we let other people tell our stories, it get misconstrued. Half of the history is missing. Somebody's profiting off of it. We don't do that over here on Thorough Black Talk. We keep it 100. So again, family, I want to thank you, Mr. Johnny Lee Gaddys, who is here with us this evening. Elder, we are blessed and highly favored to be in your presence. How are you this evening and your family?
We are truly blessed, ma'am, and thank you for having me on your show.
We are definitely honored to have you. And I know, go ahead, brother. I think he's breaking up on his
My
end.
life,
Oh, there you go. You back. There you go.
my life haven't been.
We're going to get that worked out in the background. But in the meantime, as we try to get our elder um, Johnny Lee Gaddys connection right, Dr. Harrell, give our people an introduction onto who this esteemed elder is and how did you all meet?
I met Pastor Gaddy, I guess 8 to 9 years ago. He was one of the former students at the infamous Arthur G. Dozer Reform School in Marianna, Florida. While searching for peonage research and looking for maybe if there was any cases that was in Florida, which I knew there was, I came across some of the. There was a story that was written by Roger Dean
Hello?
Kaiser, one of his books, and he mentioned peonage. And so through my blog talk radio show, I met Pastor Gaddy, and it's just been one of those moments. That's all I can tell you. You'll hear it for yourself.
Yes, indeed. So, Baba Gaddy, um, can you tell our people, tell our audience, and first I want to let you know that people in the chat are showing you much love. They are appreciative of you being on with us this evening. I can't catch up with all these messages, but I'm going to try. Uh, and also to you, Dr. Harrell, as well. You're getting so many greetings, and people are eager to hear you, Pastor. Um, Tell our audience, first of all, you know, who is Johnny Lee Gaddys? Before we get into that system, we want to know who you are as a man, as a black man, as an elder amongst us. Who is Pastor Johnny Lee Gaddys?
Well, I'm a pastor of my own church. God blessed me with. I didn't get very much education because they didn't teach us very much at the school that I was in. And I'm been married to one wife for 56 years. I have 3 daughters and one adopted son. And I tell you, God give me a good wife. I have no regret. And and as I have problem, I don't have problem talking. My wife have problems shutting my mouth. Talk all the time. And and I'm gonna get into my story as a 11-year-old black boy and in a town called Dade City, Florida, right out of Tampa. And I had a problem with speaking, and I didn't like to go to school because the kid would pick at me. So they sent me to. They came to my mother's house and said the police would like to talk to your son. And I told my mother, I said, ain't no police gonna know the judge. I said, ain't no judge gonna be at the courthouse. I said, this lady in the evening. She said, go ahead on with him. So I went with him, and he said, I'm gonna put you in a
Mm.
book and some
Uh-oh, I think we lost the
morning
connection. Hold on, let me see. I see his daughter in the background trying to figure out some things, but we'll get that. Um, Dr. Harrell, we gonna turn it over to you because um,
and
you are connected with our elder and know more of his story. So we're gonna allow you to direct the questions that best use of his
Sure.
time because we don't want to hold him too long than
Sure.
we should. And
Okay.
then our people can get the education that we need. So we'll let you take it over from here. We'll control it from the background.
Okay. Thank you so much. Mhm. Pastor Gaddy, you're back with us?
I'm still with you, Mr. Rao.
Okay. So would you please continue on how you end up going to Dozer Reform School, please? Can you hear us? I think we're having a bad connection again.
Yeah, they continue to go in and out. I see she's trying to move it around and fix it. And we'll let her do that.
What he's going to tell you and what he's telling you is that when they picked him up and took him to the jail, the holding place.
I didn't like to go to school, so he told you're gonna let.
Mm, okay. I'll take it from there until he get back in. They held him in this jail system. Pastor Gaddy's father had passed away, and his mother, they was living impoverished. Um, his mother couldn't read and write, and she just believed whatever they said that um, he did. So they took him to Dozer without even taking him through the due process. Are you back with us, Pastor Gaddy? Okay. And that's how he ended up going to Arthur G. Dozer School, which was about 300 miles from his house. A little boy, 11 years old, had never been away from his mother or his family that long, had no idea what he was getting ready to embark upon. His book entitled, They Told Me Not to Tell, Dozer Was a Living Hell. Um, I'm wondering, can you hear us, Pastor Gaddy? Hello? Mm. I wonder if they can call in. Would that be different? Uh, can they call in without showing their face or something? Would that be a better connection, you think?
What I could do, because our phone system will not kick in until the 9 o'clock hour, what I
Okay.
could do is I see him there. Let me get a hello, Pastor Gaddy.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again.
Pastor Gaddy, what happened when they took you to jail in the holding place? Let's pick it up from there.
They took me in there, and the officer came in the morning about 4 o'clock, and he said, "You going to Doja?" I said, "You told my mom I'm gonna see the judge." He said, "Well, I lied."
Could you repeat that for us again, please?
So when I know anything,
You're going in and out, and we're only getting like one word.
Yeah, it's breaking up every
I
other
was on
word.
my
Let me
way
see.
to,
She's trying to go in through another device. I see it. Let me pull them out and bring it back in. Let me try it again.
Sure. And in the meantime, when he became a student, went through the intake to become a student at Dozer, he really thought that this was going to be a great experience because the campus was so beautiful and so inviting that he could not even imagine, imagine what he was about to embark upon. Um, from the beatings, from the very intense beatings in a building what they called the White House, where they took these boys and they would stretch them out on the bed. And what I heard most of the boys say, the men say that this bed was so filthy and nasty that all you can see is the stains of blood as well as vomit and just all types of human. um, he's back in. Can you hear us now, Pastor Getty?
yes, ma'am, I can hear you
Oh,
well.
all right. Can you pick it up from there when you got to Dozer? What was your experience like from the very moment that you arrived at Dozer?
By me being 11, I was in a small college which was called Robertson, and I was assigned to a job they call a farm crew. That we had to go into the fields and pick whatever they needed. If they needed corn, we pick corn. If they needed bean, we pick bean. If they needed new ground, we have to go out there and cut the trees down and ship it to the sawmill. And we had a two-handed saw that we sawed the pine trees down with. And I had a boy, he was about 7 years old, and I could push the saw, but he couldn't pull the saw. And and the only way to keep him, when you hear me say spanking, we couldn't call it a whooping or a beating. They called it a spanking. We had to call it a spanking.
Yeah, they was
Yeah.
forced not to use the word spanking. I mean whipped. They had to use the word spanking. Um, Go ahead, Pastor Getty. Hello. We lost him again. Um, you know, I just want to say I am so sorry that this technical problem is happening
Not a
because
problem. Not a problem. It's gonna happen. We just work through it.
yeah, because he has a lot that I would like for him to share in the first person. But when he got to Dozer and they issued him his uniform and told him where he would be staying at, I couldn't even imagine um, what this little boy, 11 years old, was thinking. I'm away from my family. I'm hundreds of miles away from home. And when this mistreatment started to take place, such as the beatings and everything else that happened to him, but what really got my attention, so many things did, is when they was forced to write home and tell their mother their father, whomever, that everything was all right, and these children was being abused. The campus at that time, when Pastor Gaddy was there, the period that we're talking about, the campus was segregated. So the white boys and the black boys they could not even look at each other. There was certainly no conversations between them. And so there was no knowledge of what took place on the black side no more than they knew what was taking place on the north side. But Pastor Gaddy talked about the rapes. He talked about the beatings. He talked about this soup, Dr. Susie's soup that they made them drink. Um, and when some of the men said that this person wasn't even board certified or licensed to practice medicine, but he was making this concoction and giving it to these boys. And Pastor Gaddy was one of them. And ironically, that uh, a lot of um, a lot of the colleges that the boys was in, the black boys, it was named after notable people. You know, um, uh, Mahalia Jackson, or whatever those colleges was, but nothing. They was not living up to what the name was. It was abuse in every form of the way. But what he was about to tell you all about the two-hand saw, I think he's back. Can you hear us now, Pastor Gaddy?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Can you please pick it up about the two? Continue with the two-hand saw.
Yeah, the two-handed saw was we had they called it at the time was a kid. We had to do new ground. We had to go in the water above our waistline, and we had to pull a saw of wood out, pine trees out with a tractor, and we had to go and saw them down. And when they fall, this little boy, he couldn't pull that. I could pull it, but in order to keep him from getting a spanking, I pull and push, and that way he wouldn't have to get a spanking. But if they'd known he wasn't able to do it, they would took him to the White House.
Pastor Gaddy, in this water, you wasn't very much too much bigger than that boy yourself, being 11 years old. You were
And
standing in the water with alligators and snakes and all of that.
well, it was snake infested waters and everything you can name. It was in that water because it was like a swamp that we had to go into. They was getting ready to plant this place that because my instructor said, "You see that field over there? We're gonna plant that field in a month." And I'm saying within myself, this man got to be crazy. Them woods out there. But in a month, we had cleared that place off, just boys, and nothing. It was, and a lot of guys say, how do you do it? Well, with the grace of God, is how I did it, and because I seen so much terrible stuff happen to the little kids, and I was a little, but I was used to working hard anyway, so it didn't matter to me. I wasn't gonna let him get no spanking just because he couldn't pull a saw. And but he managed to get out of that place. I didn't see him no more. Sometimes when you come up missing, you don't always go home.
Pastor Gaddy, how old, if you was 11, what age would you guess the little boy had to be? What
He's
would you,
about seven, about
about
7.
7? Hmm. About 7. And so these boys also was forced to do hard work as well.
They had to do all of the labor work. We did everything on that black side. See, they had two sides, white and black. We growed everything they ate. We raised everything they ate. We had everything they ate. They did mechanic type work, but we did farm work.
Mm. Pastor Gaddy, you had another job that you talked about. And before we get into that, what did anybody ever believe you? Did you have a hard time getting people to believe that you had went through that even in your own family?
Yeah, none of my sisters and brothers believed that because And my mama said they told me they spank you, but she didn't understand what they meant by spanking. And I tried to explain that to her. She said, "No, they say they spank you once or twice." I said, "Mama, when they spank you, you have to lay on a bed, and they got a belt about 5 foot long. It may not be that long, but it got holes in it, and they got some with $50 cut holes in them. And every time this big man hit you with his belt, he would pull the flesh from your body, and you bleeding like a hog all the way from your back down to your almost to your leg." And I asked him one time I had a spanking. He said I was bleeding so bad. I asked him, was I going to the hospital? He said, "No, you finna go to the cafeteria and eat." I said, "Sir, I'm bleeding bad." He said, "Well, you don't tell me what's going. I told you you're gonna go to the cafeteria. That's what you're gonna do." So I went to the cafeteria. He said, "The reason I'm doing that to let these other niggas know we don't play at the school." I said, "Well, you don't question them when they that mean and hateful. You don't. You just say yes, sir, and no, sir, and that's it. You don't say anything else."
Mm. Um, was there any time that you ever thought about running away, like some
No,
of the other
man.
boys? No.
No, no. I wouldn't even know how to get back home if I ran away, because you had a big river you had to go across to get there. I went there a couple of times. I met you up there a couple of times, and I saw the river that I had to cross to go home. And so that never even crossed my mind. And then if a guy that ran away, they had a program. If you didn't have no runaway in a year, you could go to movies. And then if you had a runaway and they caught him, he had to go through a belt line, and every boy in that cottage had the chance to hit him. And when he got through that end of that line, he's almost dead anyway. So they I'll say we killed just as many boys as they did, because we had to hit them, because they had a like a military brass belt that we had to wear, and they want you to hit him with that brass belt.
Pastor Gaddy, you told me about the time that if the dog caught the boy, tell the listeners what actually took place if the
They
dog caught.
they trained the dogs in the prison, and when we had a runaway at the campus, they would bring the dogs there, and if the dog caught the boys, they would reward the boys. The dog had to lick the dog. People had to lick the dog private part, and all lick them in the mouth, and they all lick them all over from head to toe.
If the dog caught him,
If the dog caught him, that was the dog reward. Like he was molesting the boys, the dog.
Dr. Harrell, what year was this?
I went there in 19. I got it here.
This is a lot. Um, you know, I know my brother Tad, and he
I
and I are
went,
one and the same. But oof, I'm trying to process it all. What? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I went there in 57
mhm,
to 61, and I was there for truancy. I didn't even, I didn't even know. I was so naive. I didn't even know what truancy was. They say you're skipping school. I stayed 5 years in this place for skipping school. I seen boys burn up and thrown in a pit. I seen boys cooked and fed to the hogs. And I stayed here for 5 years for not going to school.
That's
Excuse me,
what
sorry, Elder. Did you say cooked and fed to the hogs?
Fed to the hogs
The children were cooked and fed.
and fed to the hogs.
Okay,
See,
just clarity.
a hog will eat anything. He eat the bone and everything. And see, when I reached a certain age, they moved me around to, instead of being a foreman, I was a tractor driver. And I would go around to the different areas like they wanted peas, okra. I would go around and pick up how many you want, 20 baskets. I would get it and take it to the cafeteria. And then I would take the stuff from the cafeteria to the hog pen. And they cook. All the hog food had to be cooked. And I saw the boy hand in the pit, in the fire. And I said, hey, man, they cooking these boys up here. He said, Johnny, don't you ever say that to nobody. They ain't just started cooking these boys. They've been cooking them. And, and they was cooking them and burning them up. See, once they spank you, if they hit you below your private part, that uh, so hard, it easily kill you. And they'll tell you that. And I never seen a ambulance out there, or I never seen a grave out there. But lately, they put one out there, and I think over 60 some years they put on. They call it Boot Hill.
Pastor Gaddy, can we visit the first time that you all went back, that we went um back those 50 years later, and they told us not to come because of the KKK. Was you afraid to go down there, Pastor Gaddy? And what type of memories did it bring back to you being there?
Well, in the beginning, I was pretty nervous because it was a place I never wanted to ever see again in my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
But that story needed to be told, and
Mm-hmm.
and I said, well, I talked to my wife, and because they threatened me and you and all and the rest of us, if we went to the courthouse, they was going to hang us for coming to a candlelight service for the fallen boys, and that's what kind of town this is. And I talked to some of the older people who lived there while we was there, and after 50 some years, and they say you can't you would run away, you come by my house. I can give you some money, but you couldn't stay around here. You had to keep going because these people are hanging my family. Just helping you.
Mm. Pastor Gaddy, a couple of months back, I shared something with you about this young man who was at the school after you.
Mm,
Uh, he was a student there more or less in the 70s. And I I've heard a lot of horrible stories from people like yourself, but this young man that I was telling you about, to this very day, Pastor Gaddy, I can't talk to him. His
mm,
story, this is what he said to me. He said that he was forced to carry what he knew to be bodies out of the back of the car. And they told him not to look. They always said it was a deer, it's a deer, it's a deer. And if he would look, he knew that he would be killed. That's what he said to me. And to this day, his mind is he's living a he lived it's almost like he's living through hell right now. And when I called you to tell you about that, I just want you to know that I still couldn't talk to him, Pastor Gaddy. Um,
They was cruel people, I'll tell you that.
did you ever think that you was gonna make it out of there alive?
No, I never did, Miss Farrell, because they'd always told us, we're not preparing you to go home, we're preparing you for prison.
Mm-hmm.
So all the boys got 18 years, they didn't go home, they went to prison. So after I got to be a grown man, I talked to a lot of guys that went there, and I said, what happened to you? Even the white guys, they say, we all went to prison. We were so mean and hateful. We couldn't stand nobody. And I always thought about it. I said, you know what? If you put dogs in a cage, all they do is fight. And that's why they had us in cage. They was and they fought all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So them people was I was sexually molested, and I told the man that what had happened to me. The guy came by to check the time. He had one of these big clocks on him. He have a head count, and then I told him, man, what had happened to me. That man had to kill me. I had to carry a pillow with me for about 3 weeks. Just sit down. I said,
For
well,
telling what happened to you,
so tell him what happened to me. That you don't talk. You don't talk that in that school. You don't say nothing.
Pastor Getty, I remember when you was on the radio and you told me what happened to you about that you was molested, and your wife said that
She knew it.
she said she felt it, but you would never talk about it. May I ask you what compelled you to share that with me that particular day for the first time? Um, what because you kept it away from your wife all these years. What really made you talk about it? Come out with it.
To this day, Miss Harrell, I don't. I couldn't even tell you. But I feel like you was good to help me, and you. I talked to a psychiatrist,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me, he said, "Look, Daddy, every time you come to me, you be smiling and like nothing wrong." I said, he said, "Why you smile?" And he had never read my book. So I said, "I got a book out there in the car, I'll sell you." He said, "I'll buy it." So he read the book. He said, "I couldn't read that whole book. I just read one page of that book when they took you from your parents." And I had to put the book down. He said, "How can you sit there and laugh?" I said, "Well, it's not easy because I'll always learn. A smile, you never know what a person's thinking when he's laughing."
Mm-hmm.
And I always laugh, but my heart was always burdened down a lot. To this day, I shine my shoes almost 60 years later. I get up 4 o'clock in the morning. I shine my shoes. You have to have your shoes shine. You couldn't have a button missing off of your shirt. You couldn't walk on the grass. When I go visit my neighbor, she asked me, "Just cut across the grass. Come on, Pastor. Just come on across the grass. Why you walk all?" I said, "Honey, I love to walk across your grass, but I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot walk on grass. I have to go. You gotta walk where I got to go. I got to go on that walk." And that's 60 some years later. That's how them people abuse us so bad.
When your family started hearing your story for the first time publicly, what was their response to you after hearing you share with the world what you had went through? What was their response to you? What was the questions? What did they say? How did they receive it?
Well, undoubtedly they say they didn't know I was telling the truth. But my daughter, she always been by my side from the beginning. She do a lot of crying.
Mm-hmm.
Me and her, my wife, she's a strong lady. But me and my daughter, we watch the sad movies. We cry.
Mm-hmm.
We would cry at anything. And my wife said, "Go get him a napkin because you know he's gonna cry."
Mm-hmm.
And I guess seeing people, children molested and abused, and so many people don't even take the children's word that these adults are doing this to them. And it grieves my spirit because I know this kind of child might be telling the truth. But who can you tell? If you got a mother, don't believe your father, don't believe you. Just that was in that correction I did, and I couldn't say no more. I had said it, and I like got killed for it, so I couldn't say anything about it.
Why did you trust me with your story?
Um, and that's what
Pastor
uh,
Gaddy,
yes,
why did
ma'am.
you why did you trust me to tell what you felt comfortable enough to share your story with me? Why did you trust me?
Well, Mr. Ralph, like I said, I you had a spirit about you that you was into that type of work, and you needed to hear my story, and I think I had kept it long enough,
Mm-hmm.
so I feel it was time to talk to somebody. I told my wife later on through the years, but I didn't tell her till I had talked with you.
Mm-hmm.
But she said she kind of felt all the guys that went there back in the days, they talk about it, and right here in my own town, right here, it's 7 or 8 guys. They refused to mention that place. Let's not talk about it. They refuse to say anything about Doges. No, no. The man, come on, man. And we go into court, we fighting the case, and come on, man. No, man. I don't ever want to bring that name up again in my life. So it wasn't easy for me.
Can we
It's
go back to
still
the day that we went to the state capitol and I moved you all up to the front? So
right.
that, you remember that day?
I sure do. And that's on. We begin to get recognition because the white guys, they always. I'm in the organization, Mr. Ram know the name of the organization is the White House Boys. And they always get off in a corner and talk, and then they will get with me, and then they talk about something else. So I always play the role as a dumb nigger that didn't know what was going on. I know exactly what I be doing, where they coming from. And when you told us to come up front, where the governor was, and let him look, cause they was up front, but now black in there up front until you told us, y'all come on up front here. And they come up there and they ask the question. First time I ever touched a governor in my life, and and he hugged me and he sympathized with what they had ancestors had did to us. And well, I'll never forget the young man. He's a photographer in the Tallahassee. He asked me, said, Pastor, a lot of guys want this amount of money and that amount of money. Say, if you get anything, what would you want? I said, you know what I want? I said, I want me a pickup truck and a boat.
Mhm.
He said, that man, he said, what you said? What you just said? I said, I want a pickup truck and a boat. He said, look like they'll give you that pickup truck and a boat. I said, I'm waiting 20 years. I still ain't got the pickup truck or the boat. But I say the people that is is judging us, those ancestors, the one that put us in this school that put in from the state. So they weren't gonna give us nothing. I wish they would, and we're still fighting it.
Mhm.
But I would never hold my breath to get anything from them because they gave us the apology. You was there when we got the apology.
You know, Pastor Gaddy, when I took you to um, the Florida State Archives to trace the money, um, looking at all the money that they was making quarterly on the produce, on the timber, on all the things that they was, selling,
They were
and
making
you was never allowed to look at the trucks.
no. We load the trucks. That wasn't no
Mhm.
problem. See the truck come in and load them, but you never know where they was going. I know we wasn't eating that kind of food at the cafeteria.
Mhm.
And what food we was eating at the cafeteria, I was taking it from the field to the cafeteria. So them trucks didn't ever go to the cafeteria.
I did email Senator Dal Ruson, and um, I emailed them because I really wanted them to see the quarterly reports from each division, how much money they was making off you all quarterly. Um, and I just felt like that was still not a part of the reports that should have been. Yes, they had all the reports of the physical abuse that you all had went through, but they missed out on the opportunity to look at
The money.
the money, because you all was placed there to make money. You was in a different type of slavery, which that was the reason why I was there in the first place, is to follow exactly what was going on. And so when I found those quarterly reports with, how much chicken you all was raising, how much the beef, the produce, I mean, 4,000 pounds of sweet potatoes. So you plant it, you harvest, but you didn't eat. Did you eat any of that?
Like I say, they would have a ticket that you would have to go to the field and pick up. Like you would want 10 baskets of peas or 10 baskets of corn.
Mm-hmm.
I would go and pick that up and take it to the cafeteria. But we had dairy cows and they had dairy cows. And they made their own milk. And they made everything. And everything that we raised and grow, the white didn't do any of that kind of labor. But they be telling us. I remember when when I used to go out there with your blackboard. I didn't know you. No, you didn't. I ain't never seen when I walked by a white person up there back in my day. I had to look down at his feet. I couldn't look him in his face. He couldn't look me in my face. He couldn't say nothing to me, and I couldn't say nothing to him. I said, no, you wasn't on the black side when I was there. Wasn't no white on that side at all.
I have to tell you about another phone call that I received. It was one of the white men put me in contact with this elderly lady who was, she was in her 90s at that time. Well, anyway, she shared with me that they would these boys would leave the campus on the weekend, and they was hired out to go and do work, whatever it was. But she said to me that her husband was one of the men that was molesting these boys. They was molesting these boys and bring them back on the Monday. But she said she heard the boys screaming, and this one night she decided to get up and go out and look at what her husband and his friends was doing behind the barn to these little boys. And she said she actually saw where they took a ice pick and stuck it right between his eyes, and she was another person I just couldn't listen to it because it was just so painful and so dark. And she said that she stopped sleeping with her husband that particular time when she saw that. And that came through the guy Mike who died. He would put me in contact with people, um, and when I say, you know, your book, and if anybody would like to purchase Pastor Gaddis' book, is They Told Me Not to Tell by Johnny Lee Gaddis. Please get that book, because he wouldn't have enough time to share with you all the horrible things that he had to go through. First of all, I just want to thank him for being brave enough and not living in silence with this anymore. Mind you, Dozer closed down in 2011, so the school opened up in the 1900s. And Pastor Gaddis, in somebody's thesis, I did find that when they first opened up the school, had girls there, and the conditions was so horrible that by the time doing one of those inspections, the governor walked in there. He said, "I wouldn't let my child go here." So that's how the conditions was so bad, so bad.
Well, they had a they had a 1957 Ford. They used to ride. I say ride. They used to take us to the White House on, and when that Ford would come to the college, guys would actually tremble. They hadn't done nothing, but they just the sight of that car would make them tremble. I saw one of them things when I got home. I was like, "Oh my God, this thing followed me."
Mm.
And that's how much fear they put in us. And then we had to drink that crazy Dr. Seuss soup.
Mm-hmm.
He said this soup would help you. You had to go in over there twice a week and drink that soup that he made up and did. And I found out later this guy wasn't even a doctor, but they had him there giving these boys all this soup. Most of the
Pastor
black boys.
Gaddy, when the anthropologists and when they came out to talk to you, and you talked about the hog pen on the concrete slab, did anybody ever believe you? Because it seemed like there was some type of doubt that there was a hog pen. Why was that hog pen so important to the story that wasn't told? What was the significance of that hog pen?
Well, I mentioned it. Miss Erin Kimball, she's the lady that was resuming the bodies,
Mm-hmm.
and I told her, I told her about the sawmill. She said it wasn't no sawmill. We never seen a sawmill, but she found the sawmill, and I said all our hogs that we had on that campus, well, none of them fed on the sand. They was all fed on concrete. And she said, "No, no, no. I ain't see that much concrete." I said, "Ma'am, all them hogs was fed on concrete slab." And she apologized later after they did find him.
Mm-hmm.
She apologized to me. She invited me to Tampa, and she told me, "I found the slab you was talking about, and I found where the sawmill was. The saw was still standing,
Mm-hmm.
and they were selling that lumber too."
Mm-hmm.
And it was something I saw. It always stuck with me. They had a a lot of dairy cows, man, thousands and thousands of dairy cows, and they had some doctors come out there, and they were and they would had a experience experiment on a shot to give the bull to go with the heifer, and it worked. It worked. They was having calves, and they did something, breaking the heifers down. They were giving them shots. And I don't know how much money they got for paddling that. I know it had to be a lot.
Pastor Gaddy, when they started exhuming those bodies with those boys, um, what what did you think they was going to find when they started exhuming the bodies? Was it going to be boys that was murdered? What did you think? You tell us.
I don't think they was gonna find anything. Be my honest opinion, because they was being burnt up and fed to the hogs. I ain't never seen no grave. I ain't never seen no funeral. The way they was doing with it, and then they said, that I went up to. They had a funeral service for the one that got burned up in the cottage up there, and it was about what seven or eight in the cottage got burned up, and they had a funeral for them. What, Miss Harrell, that's the only people I ever know they have a funeral for at that whole place. That's the 6 years I was there. So I wasn't looking for them to find nobody. And they threatened the lady was out there digging up the grave. They threatened to kill her if she kept it up.
Aaron Kimberly?
Yeah.
Hmm.
They didn't want nobody digging nothing in that school.
Yeah, I know that that a lot of the white men was very upset with me just for helping to expose what happened on the black side of the campus. Um,
Well, like you remember what you used to say? I can't tell what's happening on the white side, but I can tell what happened on the black side because I wasn't on the white side. And you stress that all the time. So
and
I
I still
remember,
stress that. Just
and
tell your story.
I don't know. They they still tell me it's another grave on the white side.
Hmm.
But they quit digging.
Mm.
They found one up there in Okeechobee. That's a school I should have went to. That wasn't nowhere from my home. That's right around Miami.
Is Okeechobee, was it for girls and boys or just for boys?
Boys,
Boys.
most of the girls go to Ocala.
Okay. Um, I would like to turn it over to the host. I know that there has been, you know, Pastor Yadi has shedded some light. And as I said to you all last week, I can only tell it from a researcher, and I can only tell it from a person sitting in a chair interviewing. But the best way to hear something is to hear it directly from the source itself. And Pastor Johnny Lee Gaddy is the source. Um, and
This,
I hope that your platform will open up more dialogues and have other people contact you to listen to people like him. And please support him by buying his book. If all that he went through and he did not take it to the grave with him like so many of the men who have died, their freedom came when they closed their eyes, because although they was no longer physically a student, but they were still there. The pain and the trauma and the experience. There's no way in the world that Pastor Gaddy can suppress this experience without thinking about these horrible things every day. Like you said, if I watch a movie and there's a child being molested, it opened up wounds for him, you know. And so once again, uh, we thank you all for giving us this platform to share the story. And he's brave enough to share it, and we have to respect him for that. We must respect him for telling the elders sharing their story.
Well, I want to first say thank you so much, Pastor Gaddy.
You're more than welcome, sir.
As Dr. Harrell said, you could have took this with you to your grave. It just reaffirms our position why we do this show, to get the information of our story out there to people. Not his story, but our story. Because most people would think it's exaggerated, it's fabricated. Because as you spoke, I thought about what our ancestors had to endure. The children being cooked. And I like to give resources. There's a book called Without Sanctuary that talks about the lynching of our people throughout the history here after our enslavement. So we see our people being cooked, and murdered. And then it makes me think of Gabriel Prosser and Denmark Vesey after they were convicted for their crimes. They were burnt and boiled and cooked down. Their skins turned to handbags and things like that. People don't understand the atrocities we had to endure. And for you to be a living testament and for you to record it in your book, I'm forever grateful and thankful. One more question. Do we have to go through Amazon, or is there a way we can buy it directly from you so you don't have to give any companies, a piece of the proceeds?
Well, my daughter, she's what are you saying?
We would prefer if you could buy directly through him because he would get all the proceeds.
Yes, that's what we would like to do.
And what I
Yeah.
can do once his daughter get that, we work on that. I can be in contact with sister and give you all the information on how to buy directly from him.
Yes.
Yes.
And please know that you always have a platform here with us with Thorough Black Talk. Anything that, you may want to promote, any other persons y'all may feel have a story that we need the community to hear, please feel free. Please feel free to stop on by. This is your home. And this is why we do it. We honor our elders. We honor those who had to endure such atrocities, because what's going on in this country, as you mentioned, Dr. Harrell, it's a trigger when you see sexual abuse. But as we see with the alternative lifestyles being promoted to our children, and we don't understand the implications of this is who these people are, to engage in bestiality, to kidnap our children and have them just be subjected to all types of atrocities that's unfathomable. Now we see how they temper it down and slowly put it in mass media this day and age in a whole new millennium. We're in a brand new century. We're in 2022, and now this type of behavior is being promoted, and people try to vilify us when we don't want to partake in that, or we even speak against it. Bestiality, child sex abuse, this stuff is just outrageous. And I'm glad we have a living testament, and it speaks to the spirit of Black folks for him to still be sane, to still create a loving family and have his wits about him. Because we know most folks would have just, I don't know how they would have responded, but they can't deal with what we deal with. But that speaks to how we are God's children and how we're so blessed. And regardless to what we go through, we always persevere because we're resilient people. And to still have a great spirit, Pastor Gaddy, I truly, truly thank you. I don't want to hog the mic. Sister Keisha?
Um, um, this is a lot to process, and I second what our brother Tad said. This is your home, Dr. Harrell, and Pastor Gaddy. This is your home. This is what we do. So whatever you need, whenever you need a platform, all you got to do is ring my numbers, and the answer is yes. If we have breath in our body, the answer is yes. I will be reaching out to some others um, to have you on their platform as well. Knowledge Born Allah, Brother Omar Wali, and others to get you guys on their platform. We have to spread these stories far and wide. And as you were speaking, I'm writing down a list of contacts to reach so that we continue to spread this story. When you have the link for the book, definitely let us know.
I
I know
will.
my Aunt Marie is in the chat. Shout out to Aunt Marie. I'm gonna get you a copy, Aunt Marie. Don't you worry. I got you. But one of the things that I wanted to know is when you said that you guys would farm and pick the food and 4,000 pounds of sweet potatoes, but you couldn't eat it. You
Oh,
couldn't eat it.
we ate some. We didn't eat. They would prepare what
Mm,
they want us to have. Everything that we grow, we could eat a little small amount of it, like hogs and chicken and cows they kill, whatever they kill. We would eat some of it, but what we was gathering, man, we could never eat all that food, and it would go bad.
I hear you. I see Dr. Filet in the chat. Dr. Filet, you definitely got to bring them back on your platform for sure. So I'm glad that you're in queue. You already have Dr. Harrell's info. So we got to make this happen. We got to spread these stories far and wide. And I want him sold out of these books. I want his daughter to say, "We sold these books." Let me tell y'all something. Y'all know Sister Keisha plays no games. And I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. Listen, buy these books. As soon as I get the link, y'all have the link. You heard me? As soon as I have it, y'all have it. And okay, here we go. Because you put it in the private chat, I'm going to put it in the main chat.
Okay, yeah. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have a conversation with his daughter, and
Okay.
once I get it, I will send it to you.
Okay,
Um,
great.
because some of the very things that he don't have the time to talk about, you can
Okay.
find in that book. You know, so there was he is. I met several men, and many of those men have passed on.
Mm,
And Pastor Gaddy is one of the few, one out of two that I know is still
hmm
living that was in that group of men that stood up and told their story. You know,
And I'll be turning 77,
Oh,
November
bless you.
22nd.
Yeah. Yes.
But my daughter is my right hand. She followed me all over the country. My wife
Pastor
is
Gaddy,
on.
we've been knowing each other what now? I don't keep up with the years. It seems it hasn't been 8, 9, 10. I don't know. You know, we just do the work.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, my wife, she's on dialysis, and she always tell me, you talk to Miss Harrell. Anything come up, see, they be wanting me to come out and go behind Miss Harrell, and we won't do that. Miss Harrell have been there, even spent our own money to come where we was, and I would never do her that way. And
And I thank you, Pastor Gaddy, because you know I'm not surprised of what the powers that be do. You know what they do, but the fact of it is, I am happy to know that your stories was heard. You know you got to that state capitol. You was recognized by the state senator. They know your story, and that now uh we can only go from here with maybe a documentary, a production or something that we can tell ourselves, not censored. And in most cases, like I've had too many producers tell me it's too dark. So everyone that's listening right now, if you have the means and the know how to help put a documentary together with Pastor Gaddy without saying, leave this out, let's change this. No, we need to hear it directly from him. We need to tell it just like it happened. That's the least that we can do. Let me tell you, when Pastor Gaddy shared his story with me, I would be very disrespectful to the ancestors, to myself, to all our people, if I said, well, how much money do you have to pay me? Okay. He paid the price. He paid the price. He paid the price with what he went through. The least that we can do, if they never compensate him, the least that we can do is say, here, if buying your book help you, then here it is.
Yep, we got it. Don't you worry. We don't play no games over here, neither do our audience. We don't play no
Nope.
games. And the good thing about it, as I mentioned last week, Dr. Harrell, Brother Tad and myself, we are connected with real documentarians who wouldn't be afraid to deal with this topic. It's just a matter of timing. But again, as I said, I will sit down and talk to my contact to see
Okay.
if we can make this happen um, in the near future. Also, I
Because
had one
Pastor
other
Daddy is
question before.
77 years old.
That's right. We ain't got time to waste.
Time to play. Right.
We need to get this story documented ASAP. And so,
Mhm.
again, I will be reaching out to other um, platforms, media platforms, and they will be contacting you directly. Once we put our foot to the fire, my brother and comrade right here, he will tell you our voice reigns supreme in certain
Yeah,
arenas.
we make it happen.
Well,
we, we
that's what we're talking about.
we make it.
Mhm. Well, okay. Well, I just want to thank you all for having us as a guest, and I will be in contact with you because I need to get that information to you how to get his book. You know,
Absolutely.
mhm. and
Absolutely.
and thank you all from opening up your home to me because trust me, I'll be back because I have so much more to share.
Oh, well,
We
you
Well,
get.
got you.
and
All
thank
right.
y'all for having me. And I want my daughter to say,
Oh man, we
So
love Dr.
we
Gaddy. He
lost them.
saying
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But Dr.
Uh-huh.
We appreciate you, sir. We definitely appreciate you.
I shall.
And the next time that you all invite me to be a guest, this time I want to come with documents. I want to come with documents from the federal level. I want to come with different cases where you can see that there was other cases of our people held in these same type of worse conditions. All
Yes.
right. Thank you,
Absolutely,
family.
Dr. Harrell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, we'll be in contact and we'll make what we need to make happen.
All right.
Yes.
And
We
you all have a
appreciate you.
wonderful.
You too. Take care.
That's
I
a
love,
lot, Brother Tad.
I love our folks. I love our folks. I love
What?
our. Here's two of my favorite folks here, Sister Marcia and Brother Blacksmith.
What do you
I'm,
think about the story of Mr. Johnny Lee Gadding? Were you guys listening?
Unfortunately, greetings everyone.
greetings.
Unfortunately, I came in at the tail end as requested, so I'm gonna have to play it back.
Okay,
But
well,
I do want to
I want
know.
you to be prepared.
Yes.
Okay,
We'll play
I
it
want to know
back
what
because
school
it's a
he's
lot.
talking about. I want to know what school he's talking about. The black side of the campus, and the white side of the
Got to get
campus.
the book.
The burning. Yep.
That's
So
right.
I'm
The
all
name,
with it.
name of the school though is Dozier Reform School down in Florida.
Reform school.
But one of the real things that really stuck in my mind is when he said they would make this Susie soup for them. before they went to be leased out. I guess it was
To fortify them, make them look stronger.
no, to weaken them because they were raped. Um, the part when he talked about children being cut up and burned,
And
Mm.
fed to the hogs. When he talked about, you know, those boys being hired out and still suffering from the trauma to this day. So when I hear people make stupid ass comments about it being a goddamn choice, be careful with your tongue. You can easily separate yourselves when you don't know your own legacy. That kind of stuff pisses me off to no end. Because as he said, and as Dr. Harrell said last week, run away where? They were being brought back. And in most cases, when they were brought back, they were murdered.
That's right.
Murdered. This ain't happened in the 1800s. Don't give me that bullshit. I'm hot tonight. Don't give me that bullshit. Don't give me no craziness.
Talk about it.
This was in the 1950s. He said from 1957 to 1961. In 57, my father was 6 years of age.
Yeah, my mother was alive. So many of my elders and family members alive.
Exactly. This ain't no 1800 stuff. And when I hear idiots talk about we don't deserve reparations, I hope you choke. I hope you choke on those very words and croak.
And sis, and that's why, you know, to hear what he had to be subjected to, you know, these children had to lick animal balls, lick dog balls, kiss them in the mouth. We see white folks do it all the time. But this is their culture. This is who they are. They talk about it. They immortalize it. You talk about the founding of Rome through Remus and Romulus. They was raised by a she-wolf. Talking about pedophilia. I mean, bestiality. Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, their god Zeus was a pedophile. The story of Zeus and Ganymede. This is who they are. This is not who we are. This stuff is being forced on us. It was forced on us. It was forced on us during our elder Pastor Gaddys generation. But now our young children are being coerced into this lifestyle. But nonetheless, it is not who we are. And we have to get back to the essence of who we are. So much foolishness, so much ignorance. It's unbelievable. And then the first thing we want to do is blame each other. Why black people? Why we that? Why we that? Look at what was done to us. We were kidnapped. We were beaten, raped, lynched, sodomized, murdered, embarrassed, ridiculed, tarred and feathered, literally, melted down to gelatin. We became literal delicacies. What do they think's going on with our missing sisters, with our missing people? Kendrick Johnson organs were missing. Trayvon Martin's organs were missing. August harvesting. Human trafficking. From then to now, centuries. We've uncovered that Hillary Clinton was down with it going on in Haiti. Come on. Wicked people in high places, and we want to run around and we want to lambaste Kanye for trying to speak up, even though he's not the best spokesperson. At least he got the testicular fortitude to talk about what is happening. We have to bring attention. He's not saying nothing no different than Michael Jackson said, no different than Prince, no different than Otis Redding and Sam Cooke, no different than Little Richard. No difference. Let's remove hip-hop. Let's remove Kanye, regardless of who he married in this politics. Let's talk about what's really happening to our young people in the music industry. Being used as cannon fodder. Millions of dollars to promote genocide, only to be murdered. On live now. Because there was no internet during the time of rock and roll and jazz and bebop and all that. But we knew we had a collective enemy. We knew we had to stick together if we were to survive. Just like Pastor Gaddy and the other young brothers knew they had to stick together in order to survive. This is problematic because, Sister Keisha, I look at our children now, the way they behave. They behave like common junkies. I saw 3 little children yesterday, pretty little girls, had to be between 14 and 16, sitting in Franklin Avenue train station smoking weed before school, looking dumb in the face. And we know they're putting fentanyl in this new weed now. They're trying to kill us. And I don't know what it's going to take for people to really understand this. There's really a genocidal plan afoot. Hillary Clinton, the woman that so many of our people cape for, said, I'm a Goldwater girl, and Margaret Sanger is my idol. When she says she's a Goldwater girl, she's talking about Senator Barry Goldwater, who said he hate black folks and called Dr. King Dr. Coon. Margaret Sanger, who created Planned Parenthood, said, let's kill them before they're born. These are the silent dog whistles they use for each other. But I'm going to step off my soapbox. Brother Ashe in the place. What's going on, brother?
Yo, y'all hear me?
Loud and clear, brother. Did you catch part of the show? I think our brother had
got frozen. Oh, there
Yo.
you go. There you go, Ashe.
Yo, that was that right there. You know, it's just crazy, man. I don't know if at the top of the show y'all got to talk about the hot topic that's on all over social media with this young brother that got murdered too.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, the young brother Jaheim, 15 years old, that got shot in his face by a police officer.
No,
And
bro.
yeah, young brother named Jaheim, and the mother decided to take a picture of him and put the picture of his face after he died all over social media. So that's a hot topic right now. A lot of people are resharing it, sending a picture and things of that nature. But it's very interesting that, you know, how we talked about, we had our guests come on and talk about modern day slavery. You know what I'm saying? And then we also have this happened just recently in the news. Young brother, 15 years old, got killed. At the same time, they also have the movie that's in theaters right now is the Till movie. That's in the theaters right now, which is about Mamie Till. Of course, Mamie Till we know as Emmett Till's mother.
Right, Mamie Till Mobley, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But this new movie is called Till, and it's giving a story of Emmett Till, but through the eyes of his mother and all the stuff that she had to go through and her decision to have an open casket so that everybody could see Emmett Till's face and things of that nature. And it's just reminiscent of what's happening with our young brother Jaheim that just got shot in the face, and his mother did the same thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand both sides of the thing, of the field, where a lot of people are saying, oh, let the boy rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? People are saying, why you posting everything on social media? Everything's not for social media, things of that nature. But at the same time, you got to look back and look in the strength of Mamie Till. She did that, you know, let the children see, let the world see a child, you know, how they did him brutally and put that right before the whole people so the whole world could see it. So everything is strategic. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people ain't built like that. A lot of people ain't ready to make them kind of personal sacrifices. You know what I'm saying? For the greater good of the whole race. You know, a lot of people not built like that. So I understand why some people are saying let him rest in peace. But at the same time, it's like, they just killed your child. Our guests talked about how they had children, babies, black babies in the pots, cooking them. You know what I'm saying? So we got to combat that somehow. We got to make something powerful happen. And in this era, in this day and age, unfortunately, a lot of people are just, you know, they wanted something popular like clickbait. So when they see a face like that and they see a picture like that, it started spreading. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if we would have even heard about this case had the mother not shared a picture of her son murdered already. You know what I'm saying? Would the story of Emmett Till be as big as it was if Mamie Till didn't share the picture of her child in the open casket? You know what I'm saying? But a lot of us not built like that. A lot of us want to just take the back burner and mourn. You know what I'm saying? Sit back and mourn and you know, say a few prayers and then move on with your life. But at the end of the day, the same thing is going to happen to the next child or the next generation of children right after, unless you do something different. So this, I'm saying that to say, in the spirit of Mamie Till, in the spirit of our guest that we just had, my brother Tad just said resilience, right? The key word resilience. I always go out of the show with this this African proverb. It's a Haitian proverb. True courage is knowing how to suffer. The reason I say that is because here or there, somewhere, we're going to have to make some kind of sacrifice. Right now, it's a fight. It's a struggle. It's always been a fight and a struggle for all people. The only way we're going to improve and better ourselves for the next generation is making some kind of sacrifice. So you got to think strategically about what that sacrifice is going to be. Now, our guest came on. His sacrifice, after he went through everything, you already heard him say that it's about 7 or 8 people in his neighborhood that don't even want to talk about it. They won't even go to the court case. They won't even show up to the courthouse to fight the case to get their just due. And I'm not blaming them. I'm not saying that's to each his own. I totally understand the damage that they have went through, but I'm just saying this is how deep it is. They just want to get away from that situation and not even remember anything about that place because that's how much of a hell it was. But at the same time, as freedom fighters, as people like us that say we quote unquote black power, we are supposed to reach a higher level and take this thing to another place instead of trying to fight the same battles that our generation before has been fighting and fight those same battles the same way. No, we can't no more, family. We got too much time that we wasted already. Too much children. 2022, this young 15-year-old Jaheim got shot in the face by a police officer. It's still happening to this day. So from now on, Thorough Black Talk, we already came and broke this down. That whole narrative about people say, oh, nobody that's alive right now was enslaved. Get over it. How many times y'all heard or so not heard in person? Because me personally, if somebody say that to me, I'm going to just slap them in the face right there. But you see it online, you know, or when these little devils try to go crazy and they try to get back, oh, get over it. That was 400 years ago. Nobody alive was in slavery that's alive right now today. Well, now, Thorough Black Talk just fact checked that. We just literally fact checked that. And guess what? That statement is incorrect because we got our brother and so many other people that are living right now, breathing to this day that went through modern day slavery. So when you say modern day slavery, we use this term as, oh, we talk about slavery as jobs, you know, slavery as contracts and things of that nature. No, we talk about chattel goddamn slavery. To this day, modern day chattel slavery. Go to other countries too. We don't know. This is America, and you could say whatever you want. Freedom of speech, right? What about these other countries? You go to China, they don't give a goddamn about us. All these countries in Europe, they don't give a damn about us. You got indigenous people in Southeast Asia that got their own damn country, their own island, and nobody give a damn about their asses. You know what I'm saying? And they all black. They all look like us. So this is something that's happening and that's continued to happen. So for us to, I'm going to pass the mic with this because we got our other family members in the building. But a lot of people say, oh, aren't y'all tired of sharing black trauma? Why y'all sharing this? I don't want to see no more black trauma. Don't get me wrong. I totally get the point behind that, right? I get it. But what's the opposite, family? Pretend that it don't exist? Is that what we doing? We gonna pretend it's not out there happening? What we gonna do? Just turn the channel? We gonna hit the knob, turn the channel. I don't wanna watch this. Well, guess what? This ain't TV, this reality. You can't change the channel. Reality. When you walk out your front door, you can't turn the knob and change the channel on your front door as a black man or a black woman. You got one goddamn channel and they keep programming it. So it's going to take some real strong warriors, brothers and sisters, to be out here and be like, yo, we living in this channel, but we about to shift and make our own reality. And if we got to share some black trauma to do that, we're going to do it. But trust me, it's going to have a benefit to it. Because like I said in the beginning of my statement, when I got on this, everything has to be strategic. True courage is knowing how to suffer. Don't just get up there and show all this trauma, and just because you want to get clickbait, you want to get likes. Oh my God, look how crazy this is. Oh, that what we love to say this. Oh, that couldn't have been me. People always say that, right? But look, if it's happening to somebody that's related or somebody that look like you, we all family, we all black, goddamn it. So that is you. So we got to learn how to come together strategically and make stuff happen and make sacrifices strategically. If you see black trauma out there, don't just share something just for the sense of just sharing it. Share it with a purpose. Have that conversation behind it. Pull up, show up when it's needed to show up. Go to the courthouses. Go to the black businesses. Support. Buy our guest book, the book that we had. The elder just came on, said he has a book. Purchase that. Buy it on Amazon now. Give them the money now. And when we get the link, direct link, buy it again. It ain't nothing but $10, $20, $30 at the most anyway. Support. Don't just share stuff and share trauma and then don't do nothing productive about it. We got to do both. We can't waste time, family. I'm going to pass the mic with that salute. Sister Marcia, Brother Blacksmith.
All right, Brother Black in the building on the check-in. What's good with you, Brother Black? How you feeling?
I gotta say a kudos to everything Brother Ashe just said. Peace, Sister Marcia. Keisha, you know ain't nothing but love. I don't see Tad, but you know, I hope he hear me. What up, what up, what up? I hope everybody's all right. I was kind of floored by, I listened to the whole show. I heard the first 15 minutes was difficult. And then, you know, the brother came through and all that. And as many books as I've read on the issue of slavery and Jim Crow and all that, I'm still floored that there are people actually still living and recalling it with their own mind, not, you know, through written notes, and they got Alzheimer's and they don't know what the hell he's saying now. This man was very lucid with what he was saying, and I'm still shocked and amazed that these things happen in our lifetime, because he's still alive and we still alive. And so it's our lifetime because we're hearing it live from somebody who went through it. And hey, let's get free. I'm gonna pass the mic to Sister Marcia. I ain't hear her yet.
What's good, Sister Marcia?
Peace, family. Thank you again. Ashe, you didn't echo any false words there. We are too cloaked in the illusion of inclusion, and we are not included. All the activities for the past 2 weeks tell us that we're not included. And this conversation of the young man that you just brought up tells us that this mother is echoing the spirit of Miss Till. But the one thing that is missing from that period and this period is the social awareness that our people were ready to gather together during those times. Now we're oversharing content and we're not doing anything to progress the environment. In those days, it may have been a little bit difficult to do some things, but in today's days, yes, we face some of the same tactics from the larger system, but in our inner core, we're so broken. We just don't even understand. And at one time I was trying to do an analysis and I'm like, maybe it's because so many people are coming in and they just don't understand. But all those people that are coming in fled their home country because there was atrocities happening in their home country. They didn't leave their home country because, you know, there was gold all over the streets and I don't want to pick up this gold. I'm going to come to another country and pick up that gold. No, there was something wrong in your home country that made you flee your home country. And now you're here and you see that there's still something wrong. When are you going to pick up your sword and fight? There is no reason why we can't pick up our swords and fight. Whether your sword is a pen, whether your sword is whatever it could be, pick it up and do something. Don't do it for yourself. Do it for 3 generations later, you know. And even with all these people that are talking about this reparation funding that comes, and if it comes and when it comes, and I want it to come for our people, no matter where you are owed it. But what's the plan with it? What is the plan with it? Because this is my greatest fear. My greatest fear is they turn around and say, okay, here is $10 trillion. And all we go do is shop Gucci, Louis, and everything else with it, and end up in the same situation 50 years later. That is not a goal. And if that's what people are thinking about right now, because no one is saying anything concrete except cut the check. And I get it, cut the check. But when you cut the check, what's the plan for the check? How are we going to use it to empower our people? Because cutting a check is the easy part. It's managing the check that's the hardest part. And right now, we have no financial management skills. And we can't all be getting, you know, whatever the sum is. And, you know, I don't knock on America's door for my sum. I'm knocking on France's door. I know where to go knock on whose door I'm supposed to go knock on. So I'm not twisted in my ideas of this financial reparation, but I still want everyone, when they get that check, to know what you're doing with it. Because if we don't know what we're doing with it, we're going to end up right back in square one in 50 years. And when we come back in 100 years, because I believe all souls come back, we're going to still be in the same thing and be like, wait, it's still the same way. Mm-hmm. And it can't be this way anymore. It absolutely can't be this way. We need clarity. We need a strong core, because too many crazy core people are saying, oh, what we'll do and this and that. And it's nothing concrete. I haven't heard anything concrete. Maybe I'm not in that inner circle as of yet. But for right now, what I'm hearing doesn't look good for us. But that's my rubbish for the day.
Marcia, real quick, can I say something to what you just said in regards to being the offspring of first generation black people who weren't born in this country. So I don't know how people in Haiti, Trinidad, Jamaica, you know, of course I know people from each country, but a lot of maybe before the 1990s, a lot of our parents who came from those countries in the Caribbean, specifically who are black, I'm speaking about, had the mentality like they were born in that country. They're gonna go back after they retire, build a big house, blah, 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 and be that person that came up from that community, even if they did it in the States. Because when they retire, their pension money come in dollars. And over in those countries, you know, $100 is a lot of money. You know, $100 in the United States don't even fill up your basket for when you go shopping for the week, but for a family of 4. But what I'm saying to that is, I think that's changing now, because a lot of people will come here now and they get so used to being Americanized that they stay. Or even if they go back and forth, they live here primarily and go there and, you know, go chill for a few months, especially in the winter. So I just wanted to cover that dynamic. Anybody can take it from wherever you want to go now.
Family, I have on the screen how you can order the book, autographed or unautographed. His daughter just sent it to me, so it's up there on the screen. You can order on PayPal at GaddyJ945@gmail.com. $15 for unautographed and $20 for autographed books. So it's right there on the screen. Get your books. We're going to post it on the Thorough Black Talk Facebook page and on our Instagram page too, so that y'all can get it. We'll keep it up for the remainder of the show.
Everybody should buy that book. No excuse.
Absolutely.
$15. $15. Maybe you go to McDonald's. I know y'all still going, even though I should have told y'all not to go no more. McDonald's is $16, $17 now. So no, everybody on here should buy that book.
And a matter of fact, everyone should be purchasing the autographed copy, because then you have a living testament of this person in your hand, and you just donated an extra $5 to his pocket, and he deserves it. He did something that we right now will not do, you know, or as Brother Tad was saying earlier, would come out of it not being able to function as a citizen of the world. So he is a functioning citizen. He's made it to 76?
77.
77 years old. He is owed more than that from us.
Yeah, I think it's the least we can do is support his efforts and to really have a testament of what has happened, because like I constantly tell people, it's unfortunate that most of us aren't even qualified to speak about slavery or enslavement, because if we understood, we'd understand that we were never slaves, we were enslaved. So we have to change the language, stop calling ourselves slaves, because now we're taking on an identity that was forced on us by other people. We were enslaved. We were kidnapped. We were victims of human trafficking. And by this law, the law of this land, slavery was never abolished. It was just transferred from private hands to government hands. And the government is so slick with the three-car money, they're going from government hands back to private hands when they privatize prison system. Have to get through. Dr. Claude Anderson talked about them getting rid of us, them bringing a new class of citizens in to replace us, to keep us as a permanent underclass. I am doing a second job working with the immigrants that are coming from South America, and we really don't get it. This is the same trick that was pulled 100 years ago when they asked for the Southern Europeans to come, send us your sick and huddle mass. So the Irish, Italians, and the Jewish folks came in droves. Why? To replace us, to remove us as a permanent underclass. They never stopped their genocidal attack on us. We have to be honest with it. But if we understand our story, we will understand where we're at and how far we have to go to the goalposts. They keep trying to goalposts. I'm sorry.
But like Dr. Harrell was saying last week, we're so afraid of our story. We're so afraid to hear someone tell us our story. There's nothing to fear about our story. Our story will give us so much strength. But even right now, as I work with folks in the community, they are even afraid to tell you their story. You're like, so what happened? Oh, well, no, they were, like, I would talk to a counterpart of mine, and her family's from Jamaica, and she's like, oh, well, they were wealthy in Jamaica. They didn't have to come here. So why did they come here? There is a purpose why your parents left their home country. And unfortunately, I don't think she has the access to her parents to ask them why they left. But until you understand why they left, you won't understand why you're in the place that you're in right now. And so many, like my parents, at one point would not tell me why they left. Right? As a little girl, I would always ask, so when are we going to move back to Haiti? Like thinking it's just a fairy tale, like we're just here for a minute. And no, we're not going back. Why we're not going back? You could go back to visit, but you can't go back to stay. Or you could go back to stay for a year or so, but you still got to come back here. But why you got to come back all the time? There's something that happened that they don't want to talk about. They don't want you to feel that pressure of whatever it is that happened. And I get it. But at the same time, that shield of invisibility or whatever cocoon they tried to place you in buries you in the place that you're in, because you still don't know why they left. You don't know why you're here. So you can't connect. And that misconnection is what's stopping us. If you moved from the South, you left the South for a reason. Why did you leave?
Sister Marcia?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
No.
Sorry, guys. I'm got people online emailing me and asking me about the book and all this whole kind of stuff.
Okay.
So That's a good thing. So I'm just trying to respond back. I'm not ignoring all y'all. I'm just trying to respond to everybody. But as far as what will we do when we receive cash payments is null and void. And let me explain why. Um, First, we have to understand that to be repaired, right, to be restored, I think there were 5 categories that falls under legally in this country, and that's to repair, to restore, restitution, satisfaction, and guarantees of non-repetition. Right? Those are all guarantees under the law. And this is why I always tell our people to study legal doctrine. Less than 5% of this country's lawyers are Black. That's the other side of social justice that nobody talks about. And that's why we're not progressing. You have so many people now teaching folks or our folks, to go into tech, to learn STEM, but all of that will be destroyed without legal representation. And no one teaches our children to study law. Even some of the slogans that we use. I asked the girl the other day, she put up a nice, beautiful meme, but it said it was something about Black is beautiful. And so I responded, do you know where that term came from? Black is beautiful. And she didn't. So I saw her, it was attorney John Rock, who came out of, I believe he either was born in Baltimore and grew up in Boston, and then opened a hospital here in Jersey. I think he died early in life, I think about maybe in his 40s. But he coined the phrase, Black is beautiful. I say it all the time. We look at the talkers and never study architects. And that's why we continue to fail. We need mental rehabilitation. That's one of the guarantees under reparations. This is under the legal doctrine. And so it's very, very important that we encourage our people. And I'm so sorry I didn't continue to go to law school.
Yeah,
sacrifice my education for others. That's another story. But anyway, there were 5 guarantees under reparation legally: land, restitution, rehabilitation, satisfaction, guaranteed of non-repetition, that it doesn't happen again. Go ahead, Brother Tad.
Now, I was going to say, I'm glad that you brought up where the Black is beautiful come from, and you made that point that we have to study who the talkers study. And this is why, even when Kanye said for us to be free thinkers and people tried to critique it, I said, you have to study who Hubert Harrison was, one of the founders of the free thinking movement. That's who Dr. Clark and Marcus Garvey studied. We have to start thinking for ourselves. Everybody want to run with this program set of rules and thinking, not realizing that we have the ability to think our way out of these conditions. But too often people regurgitate rhetoric. Even to the point you were making, Sister Marcia, about our parents. One thing I will say is that I won't say it's unfortunate. However, we do have access to a lot more information than our parents did. And as it should be, every generation should be smarter and smarter. So I know my mother and my father didn't know the information that I'm familiar with. I won't say I know more than them. I'm just familiar with information in a different sphere. Just like they're more comfortable with information in another sphere that I'm not so astute with.
Right.
We have to do what we can where we are. Too often, and I'm not saying useless, I'm just talking about our community. Too often, we keep looking up to other people to do for us what we've been ordained to do right now. When we get those ideas, that's the Creator kicking it to us. When we decide that we want to free our people, that's our purpose. That's what God has charged us with. That's what the Creator's charged us with. So I can't look for my mother and my father to do the job that I was ordained to do. This is why I survived all the adversities I've been subjected to, the gunfight, the court dates. You know, this is prior to having this level of I have now. I was just smart enough to know to get myself out of trouble and know that there's something deeper at foot. That why am I, all my friends, my cousins down south, all of us are going through the same thing. Why? Why are we all getting the same message that other people that look like me is my enemy? Where did that come from? And once we start critiquing that, we can start pulling back the layers and realizing that we're ordained for this. This is nobody's job but ours. It's up to us to do what we're doing. Us 5 here, our audience members, they could be watching BET right now, but no, they're tuned in to get this knowledge and information because they realize how valuable it is, what we have and what we do. Unfortunately, the talkers, like Sister Keisha pointed out, they don't see the value in what they do. So they misuse it. And all they want to do is win a popularity contest, as opposed to giving it real substance so that when the check do come, we're all on one accord, buying land, building institutions. As Sister Keisha said for point number 5, guaranteed there's no repetition. Guaranteed there's no repetition, because as I said prior, this trick that we see right now with all these immigrants and the Ukrainians and the South Americans, we seen this 100 years ago when all of them keep claiming the Statue of Liberty, when all the Southern Europeans keep talking about, yeah, when my grandfather Giuseppe came from Italy and he saw the Statue of Liberty, we knew we was free. But they never talk about how that statue was a gift to us from France. And of course we know about the design, about it originally being a black woman holding up the chains, and in fact, was the artist name was Bartoli, I believe it was, who left the chain on the ankle, but who was the only ones brought over here in chains? The Jews wasn't brought here in chains. The Irish and Italian weren't brought here. Well, some of them was. Some of the Irish were. But that's a part that they omit from history, so it's not a popular consensus. Because when we talk about enslavement, well, you'd have to study the Bacon Rebellion, but all white people weren't free and all black people weren't enslaved, contrary to popular opinion. Those overseers that was on the plantation was enslaved themselves. They weren't the plantation owners, but they put it in Hollywood of black people calling them massa when they wasn't massa. It was just to subconsciously get us to bow down to white folks. But them Irish, when they slept in the big house, they either slept in the attic or they slept in the basement. This is so much misinformation that goes on out here. And it's up to us 5 that know better. All of us know better. We are skilled. And this is why I'm so glad we had Dr. Harrell and Pastor Gaddy, because they are living testaments. They are living. Dr. Harrell has done the work. She is doing the work, documented in real time. We have to spread this information because it's vital, because it's coming down to the final countdown. Because again, we don't have guarantee what is this, Sister Keisha, guarantee of repetition? We don't have that. So we're seeing the same Carmani trick being played on us. So those of us who are on this panel, those who are tuned in the audience, those who replay this, understand it's not up to the elders. So don't look for Professor Smalls or Dr. Leonard Jeffries or Dr. Umar to do some shit you could do yourself. Organize your family, organize the children in your community, or get with somebody that's doing the work that you find value in. Get on board with them and help as best as you can. That's all we got to do. This ain't no super hard science project. You just got to get up off your tail. But I'm going to pass the microphone.
Facts. And one of my aunts and a cousin is in Q. They will tell you the whole family, we on code.
That's right.
We don't play no games. We are on code for real. So as Taz said, work within your circle. Get your circle right. Because as things progress, you're going to have documentation. You're going to have family lineage. Don't say we didn't warn you. We always tell you the truth over here. We don't tell you no lies. We tell you the truth over here. And I'm telling you because I'm watching these small individual cases like what's happening in California, what's happening in Oklahoma. There are cases already won. So y'all can play games if you want to. But my family, yeah, we're present and we ready, period. Sister Pat said the greatest lawyer Charles Hamilton Houston. That's right. Social engineer. We are lucky, Sister Pat, that we were trained by one of the greatest social justice attorneys on the planet. Not everybody had that training. And so we are his cubs. And we got to get to work for real, for real, for real. But I know time is winding down. We're going to get our final thoughts and questions and comments. And then next week, we'll do it black again. And we'll connect with Dr. Harrell for part 3 when she shows you federal documentation of what's been happening. I told you it's just recently, just about, I think it was 2017, I think, when Mississippi abolished slavery.
Yeah,
Stop playing. Stop playing. Don't let, as Ashe said, don't let nobody give you no false narrative anymore. Ever. We brought the facts here tonight. My brother Black, your final thoughts?
We are under judgment. So don't worry about law school, Sister Keisha, because when the time comes, when stuff flip, you're going to be in the seat to be judging, because we doing the work, and basically the measure is going to be your heart measured against the weight or feather when it comes to my eye. Well, that's how I feel about it. As far as the information presented today, man, I mean, I'm happy, but I'm kind of somber because to hear what that man went through, and I'm sure he ain't even tell it all. I'm sure he was glossing over everything he's seen. So know that it's real. Know that your enemy, like Barashango said back in the day, just because he wearing a suit and shave his face and all that, his basic nature is still the same. So we don't get that twisted over here. Buy his book, support his work. If he come out with the documentary or you hear anything the sister's doing, please support them. That's very important. Everybody needs support. I need support, but I don't need it that bad. Support them if you feel like supporting me. And Sister Keisha, I hope you put that information back up. To my last final words is check out Kanye, what he's doing with these apologies. And even though he apologizes, it's an opportunity for him to get on another show and then say some other outrageous stuff according to them, for him to get that message out. Y'all got to know he playing a court chester. He playing checkers, chess, and dominoes at the same time and winning. So don't worry about him losing all that money and all this and that or whatever the third. After that flash that's supposed to happen, whether y'all believe it or not, y'all heard it already. After that flash happened, none of this is going to matter, and that's the time we're going to take over. Official stuff with the superpowers and all the stuff I've been saying since I've been on this show. And if y'all following other people who's saying similar stuff, y'all hearing it whether you agree with it or not. I'm not here to convince or try to dissuade anybody from what I'm saying. It is what it is as far as the information is concerned. Y'all know I'm Flavius Jones on Facebook. If you want to hit me up, I got books. I got a blog. Anybody who's my friend knows my situation, knows what time it is as far as I'm concerned. Check me out, friend me, and let me know you come from the show, and we'll do it again in next week. Peace and love to the whole panel. Peace and love to the world. New York is free now. The people who got I'm surprised you didn't bring this up, Keisha. I know we had
We will next week. We running out of time, brother. Stop. We'll be back next week.
That's a show within itself.
And even that, we warned them they were breaking the law on this platform. I read the doctrine. I don't care what the chatter is talking about. But we'll get into that next week. Sister Marcia.
Family, remember to study, document your family, know who your family is, know where they came from. It's important for you to be a stronger person and to fight better. When you have that foundation, you are a better, stronger person. And even if they don't want to tell you, figure it out, source it out. Someone in your family will talk. Listen to them. Don't let time dwindle down and they can't remember. Like it was said earlier, The man is 77, still has all his faculties, so he can still share stories. Catch them when they are young. And tell your children to catch you now, not wait until, you're old. Catch you now. Start having those dialogues with your children and grandchildren, whoever you have. And like I always say, may time flourish because time is on our side. Thank you all. See you next time.
All right.
Peace, Marcia.
Peace.
Brother Ashe SJ.
Yo, I'ma just leave out with this, family. If you're not planning your future, somebody else is planning it for you. And even if you are planning your future, somebody else, that's your enemy, is still planning it for you. Still planning your future, the future of your goddamn unborn children. They planning that right now. Generation, your grandchildren, they planning that right now. So we better start planning. Not just for us, not just for us, but for our whole lineage, our whole generations coming behind us. And not just planning, but taking action steps. Because a lot of us is good at planning too, and we don't do nothing but plan. We sit there and plan all day. Oh, no, I can't go nowhere. I'm planning. I'm planning to do this. I'm planning to do that. I'm writing it down. I got a whole vision board. A whole vision board on the wall. And they ain't get off the goddamn the armchair, like we say. They ain't get off the armchair yet. So we got to start planning and executing, family. Right now, even though I don't like the dude or whatever, what Ye is doing, just the whole story of it, this is current events in history, family. So if whether you in the hip hop or not, it don't matter. It's bigger than hip hop at this point. We talking about the race of people. Because what is happening right now with Ye is the richest black man in American history taking on the invisible army known as these acidics. The ones that got the Star David on our dollar bill that we spend every goddamn day, the hidden invisible army. One black man is taking on it. Now, I don't know if he's doing it. Well, he definitely ain't doing it right. I'm from my shade. He ain't doing it the right way. I already told y'all that. He should have got with the spirit of the Khaled and all. Khaled would have never apologized, but that's a different story. I got to do my own show on that. But anyway, it's very interesting. We got to pay attention to what's going on with our people, family. And just know that we living in history right now. Every single day we wake up is Black History, family. So what side of history you want to be on? Make sure you're on the right side of history, family. It's your brother Ashe SJ. Always remember, true courage is knowing how to suffer, and the battlefield is where you stand. Brother Tad.
All right. Hopefully y'all learned today. But I'm definitely appreciative of the panel. You know, I love y'all to life, my brothers and my sisters. Definitely shout out to the audience for always rocking with us, and definitely special salute to Pastor Gaddy, his daughter, and Dr. Harrell. I just want to tell y'all, go read a few books. Without Sanctuary, it's a book on the lynchings of our folks. Then you have Dr. Khalil Gibran Muhammad's book, The Condemnation of Blackness. You also have a book called Bullwhip Days. And then there's another book by Henry Louis Gates Jr. called The Slave Narratives, just to get y'all familiar a little bit with what we're talking about. It's very important that you familiarize yourself with this information. Which book is that, sis?
It's the book that Dr. Harrell asked us to get last week. Lay This Body Down, the 1921 murders of 11 plantation slaves.
Get that book too, because we have to have resource material to put in our toolkit. All right. So hopefully you're inspired by something that you heard tonight, and it's your turn to go out and inspire others. Always keep your head on the swivel, as Sister Keisha say. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, and stay true. And remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, it's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha.
Kudos to the panel. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate your perspectives on everything. That's why we have you all. every week. We definitely appreciate you, Sister Marcia, Brother Black, and glad to have the Fire God Ashe back on the scene with us. And Brother Tad, you already know. Please follow OG Wisdom Podcast
That's
on
right.
YouTube and other streaming platforms, Podbean and others, whatever works best for your streaming device. You want to hear the best quality, so pick whatever works best for you. Follow Brother Ashe, Solid African, because we going to definitely have Brother Ashe do his own thing again. For real, because I like when he goes in. And then it lets me and Brother Tad know that we doing our job. We doing our job. We on our job. We ain't gonna lose our job. But anyway. But for Sister Pat, Empress Filet, and others in the chat, and Brother Ashe said Kyla would have never apologized, and neither would have Automatics. And we gonna close out like that, family. Good night.
Glenda Brawley is not going to apologize because white folks have taught us through Jesse Jackson that you can make 1,000 apologies and you're still not going to get the white man's vote. I want to serve notice on Whitey today, if he has not heard this before. I will never apologize to the white man for anything that I do in America. When Vernon Mason talked about the 100 years of lynching, talked about how white folks said that you are not going to get a trial, that we are going to take you out on some lonesome dog road and string you up. And too many of us have had that experience visited upon our families. But let me tell the white man one thing, that as long as I am in your courts, and as long as I am attempting to get due process of law for Pagonis, by forcing him to go to trial, then I'm going to do as I please in your courts. Because by me being in your courts shows that I am more civilized than you, who take it to a pine tree. So I have a right to do anything that I so please in your courts. Because if this had been 6 black men who had lynched a white woman, you would not be here today debating due process. You would not be here today debating their sentence. Or their strategy. That's right. Because the act of death, the sentence of death that you would have imposed would have been swift and it would have been certain. So we have a right to do as we so please. And I can tell you this, if you shut the courthouses down to us, we will not get down on our knees, but we will get in those fields like you and track down the Pagonises and the Pattersons and get a black man